Welcome to TruPowur, home of the most powerful marketing tools, training, and technology on planet Earth. Get ready to earn, enjoy, and experience more than you ever dreamed was possible. If you're tired of just getting by and ready to really thrive, then buckle in and listen up. Here's your host, Matt Fox.
All right. Well, how the heck are you this fine day today? On episode 233 of TruPowur Academy, I want to talk about some of the new advanced features, followed by some of the more basic information that we are going to go over for some of the new agents. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it and take a look at today's agenda. So in today's agenda, some of the topics that we're going to be covering is selling in a high market, some of the new platform features, which is layered purchasing, which kind of goes and coincides with the selling in a high market. And then we're going to follow that up with some of the sales phases that we go through for commercial customers, walking through that process. And of course, we'll touch on some of those CRM features that might be helpful, especially for some new agents. So let's go ahead and jump right into the top of the topics here with selling in a high market. So the spotlight really today is talking about selling in a high market. And the current state of energy in the global economy is obviously a challenge, but not impossible. You can still land deals. We have a lot of people that are bringing in a lot more business now than we ever have. And I think that is just, using the right strategy and approach. So let's look at what's happening and how should you adjust your sales approach. So what are some of the factors causing the high markets? Well, obviously, lack of resources with natural gas prices all being overpriced, pipeline capacities, economic factors, with the pandemic slowing down demand, production, demand on quality increases while production didn't, as well as supply chain issues, LNG export increasing, weather, climate has a huge, position on that, with climate instability and temperatures keep demanding higher usage. And then, of course, Ukraine and Russia, the war and economic sanctions reduce available supply. So what is the outlook for the future? There will be sustained disruption in the world economy and the energy markets, obviously, but smart consumers will embrace, a backwardation and being able to look at the market and come to terms with what is it that they should be doing moving forward. So long-term contracts will always provide greater impact and more savings for your customers. The further out you go, the more you'll save, even out to 2024, 25, 26, and beyond. Prices will remain steady for most of 2022, but there's going to be a greater risk of price increases rather than decreases. So when you look at the West Texas Intermediate crude oil prices in the NYMEX, you can see that we've got a pretty steady, consistent market right now, but the fear is what happens if the market goes up? What happens if the market goes down? And so everybody's got their own feeling as to what is going to really happen. And so you need to be able to take a positive approach when you're talking to customers rather than being on the other side I would rather lean into their belief and test that belief. So, how should you address the current market, right? Because the reality is we're right there in the middle. The market could go up. You got a chance for that. The market could go down. There's a chance for that. The reality is that the markets are more apt to increase than to decrease. If you looked at oil prices a year ago, when I started telling people you need to renew some of your natural gas contracts, people thought I was just really trying to sell them. Now you're looking at rates that are triple what they were a year ago. So this is really going to focus on how to take that customer's journey and really provide value to them and put the ball back into their court. So short term, the fact, rather than probability, look at real savings now versus what ifs in the future. The facts today are that we have rates in hand that could bring savings in short term, but the customer wants to guess at something that might happen. The probability of the market moving up or down in the future is really on their shoulders as to what their belief is, right? So long-term up markets, it's up to chance, right? And one can only apply a certain likelihood to the outcome. Hedging a percentage using a layered method according to this likelihood. If the customer only believes that there is a 10% chance that the market will move up, then we should hedge 10% of their portfolio. They are partially protected if that happens and have the flexibility if the market moves down. So this is going to really be an instrumental tool in being able to take the customer's belief and put that back onto them to see really how much do you believe that. Long-term down market, it's up to chance again, and one can only apply certain likelihood to this outcome. If you hedge 100%, and we can always blend and extend if this outcome occurs. So if the customer believes that the market is going to go down, we can put that customer on a contract and hedge 100% of their position today. And in the likelihood that the market does retract and go down, I don't really see that, but let's say that it does, you can then blend and extend that contract. So, or you can use a layer in the hedge as the market moves down for better weighted average pricing. And so layered purchasing can help how? Well, layered purchasing mitigates the risk of losses in the case of your customer lands in a down market, simply breaking up the procurement into multiple phases and let the platform do the work in quick response notifications via email. So what you would do is actually take that customer's portfolio, enter that into the platform, and then select whether you want a standard layer, a predictive layer, or a blended layer. And based on what their beliefs are, then you can hedge a certain amount of that position. So if that customer had a million kWh and they felt that 25% of their belief was strong that the market was going to go up, then you could take 25% of that, or 250,000 kWh, and hedge that. And if the market goes against them, at least they've been partially protected. If it goes against them, or I should say, if it goes against them, they've been protected. If the market comes down, then we can blend and extend. Either way, they are going to be protected, and the system is going to manage and monitor all of that for you. So the ideas on how to approach a customer. One is, first off, never be combative, right? We want to bond with the customer and pace them. So when, and crisis, people tend to procrastinate, right? They are paralyzed of making a poor decision. If they have concerns, whether it's logical or illogical, they won't be objected to. So however the customer objections take the customer's objections at face value, not to mean that they're not going to change. It's just a matter of, rather than trying to be obtuse to what the customer believes, take what they believe and use that to your benefit and to their benefit, to be able to protect them moving forward, while at the same time creating a situation where now you are also obtaining more customers. So the solution: accept the reality of the customer, give them plenty of credit for their intelligence, their concerns, and their points. So what should you say, or what can you do that can help that customer? There's a good chance that might be right. Direct them to see the other side of reality, but there is also a very good chance that whatever their belief is. So if they believe that the market is going to continue to increase, obviously, then we really need to hedge those positions moving forward. But if for some reason that customer believes that the market is going to retract to their benefit, then we have the opportunity that there's also a good chance that that could happen. And then we would be able to blend and extend that contract. So you land your framework. So would you agree that there's a chance that each of those regimes could occur? In other words, what would you say the chance is that the market is going to move up versus down? 50-50, 20-80, 80-20. The purpose, for layered purchasing is to take advantage of layer purchasing approach with predictive market timing. So you can hedge the customer's load partially. Only a portion of the load will be hedged. The higher the chance that the higher the chances you give to an up market, the more you hedge today. So you set up the layer, and in the grid triggers an additional purchase layer when the market conditions are met. So the system is going to be constantly analyzing that position and putting the customer in a position to protect them along the way. So explain the different types of the layer to choose from. So a standard layer would be using wholesale data to determine if it's an ideal time to buy. Predictive uses market timing, which that data is determined if it's ideal time to buy. So predictive using market timing, which we've covered a few weeks ago, is a new feature in the platform that analyzes constantly between the time that the customer is a customer through the TruPowur platform and the time their expiration. So by looking at those analytics, it dynamically uses artificial intelligence and says, if it gives you a response and says, today is a day that you need to do something, then basically what it's doing is analyzing the market and letting you know that today is the best rate you will ever see between now and the time that your contract expires. And so you want to be able to take care of that and take advantage of that quickly. A hybrid is using a combination of both the wholesale and market timing data. So as you have customers that need this approach, we will be more than happy to walk you through those processes, because at first it may seem a little overwhelming, but it's really pretty simple. Add the gravy on top. Finally, in the case of a down market, we can blend and extend the contract. If your rate, your rate will drop to the market rate, and in return, the supplier gets an extension on the contract. So this will eliminate any potential losses if you're contracted above the market rate. So you've got protection for your customer on both sides, no matter which way it goes. So if the market goes up, they're hedged. If the market retracts, then you can blend and extend. That's good for the suppliers. It's good for you, and it's good for the customer. So wanted to take some time and go over some of that. And we'll be talking a lot more about that in the near future. So those are some of the areas that I wanted to talk about the high market and the new platform feature that this is actually going live. We've been testing this since the beginning of the year. And the layered purchasing should be live here by the 1st of next month, if not before. So we're just making some final tweaks to adapt that into the platform so that you don't skip any beats. So right now, for some of the newer folks, want to take some time and kind of go over some of the sales phases with a commercial customer and touching on some of those CRM features for new agents. So if we jump into the quick launch menu, and so everybody should know where your quick launch menu is at agent.trupower.com. And if you haven't taken some time to kind of go through and see where all of these links go, do so. One of the things that I would point out is this accounting button down here. So take some time and take a look at that. This will give you access to a lot of things. So if you need to schedule some one-on-one training, then there's your button right there. If you have a change of address, or you need to change your direct deposit or update anything, or anything that you need to make changes on, this is the place that you go. So wanted to just touch on that real quick. So the commercial sales cycle in phases. So the first thing, when we're working with commercial customers, is we're working within the CRM and we're contacting customers for an electric utility audit. So if we go up here and jump into our CRM and log in, then this will bring you up to your high-level dashboard, which gives you just the 10,000-foot view of what's going on with everything that you're doing. There's two ways to access your leads. You can just click on the top lead, and that'll take you right to the top of the list. Or you can come down and click on My Leads and then sort those based on state or what have you. So if you click on My Leads, and let's say, for example, if you have leads for Illinois, then you're going to want to come down here and select Commercial Customers Illinois, and then hit Search Update, and that will bring up all of those customers that are in Illinois so that you can work in that area and not have to look at any of the other areas that you are in. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into one of my test accounts. And a couple of things. You have your contact information here on the main contact information page. Up here at the top, you have your scripts for the audit, residential, commercial, and solar. So they're right there at your fingertips. They're very simple. You should take some time to learn that so that you don't sound scripted. Make it a little bit your own. Just remember that everything that you do, to include all of the calls, are recorded. And so when you make a call, it will be attached down here where you can listen to it. in the future and listen to that. And so if you've made some calls and you're having some issues, you can always send a ticket or send a request to support to have somebody listen to that and give you some tips and some advice. Making the calls is very simple. Just simply click on the dial here. That will bring it up. And you'll notice that if I get a voicemail, then I can click that. You can click on that voicemail drop. You want to make sure that if you get a voicemail, click on that before you hear the beep, not after. So it will disengage you. It'll wait for the beep and then leave the pre-recorded message for you. So the other thing that I would point out is that when you make calls, you need to result that call. In other words, right now it's in the never contacted fresh lead status. So if I left a voicemail for this person, then I might go in progress and put, first voicemail drop and change the status of that. So when you go back to your leads in the future, you're going to see all of the people that you did a first call voicemail drop to, so you can follow up with those people, but you'll already know that everybody in this folder is one thing. And so as you have different results for different customers, then that will build out for you. The other thing is when you are sending an email, you do have to have their email address in this field, but then you can click on send the email button, select the correct email that you're going to send them from the drop down here. So if you had spoken to the individual that you're getting the electric bill from, then you would want to use the personalized because it says, I enjoy speaking with you today. If for some reason the person that you need to speak to was not there, but the receptionist or their personal assistant gave you their email or what have you and said you need to speak to John, then you need to send the one that says referred by somebody. So it will say, I was referred to you as a person who handles controlling the cost of whatever there, it'll put the company name in there right there. So it will automatically do all of that for you. To include, it has an attachment here, a little bit more information. There's a link to the video. So everything that they need in order for you to get a copy of that utility bill. So all you need to do is select from the drop down, which one do you want, and click send. Done deal. Very simple. And then make sure you change the status of that contact. So you'll know that in this situation, you have a customer that, you sent the first utility request personalized or referred by somebody so that you know the status when you go back and do any kind of follow-ups. Now, mind you, the moment that that customer opens that email, a pop-up will appear over here on the screen. So you will see that. In fact, let's just go ahead and do one here real quick. So I am going to go ahead and just use the personalized and hit send. So that email has been sent out. I will go to my test account here, or John. So I'm pretending to be the customer. And so that email should be coming in here momentarily. There it is. So there's the email that was sent. You can see it's got the PDF there. And so they can look at that. But now when you go back to the customer, as you're working, the system is going to let you know, oh, look at that. So-and-so opened their email. So I know that that customer is actually looking at that email. So if I was on another call, I could click that pop up and it'll bring up the customer right back to me so I can follow up with that customer right away. So that way I can just follow up and they don't know, So don't freak them out and tell them, I know you're looking at the email. Just ask them, have you had a chance to take a look at that yet? Well, as a matter of fact, I'm looking at it right now. Perfect timing. So that gives you a little heads up on everything else. So everything is tracked, everything is recorded. And so that makes it very simple. Now, yesterday I had somebody who said that they had talked to a commercial customer who actually worked from home, which was a little bizarre, but it happens, right? So they work from home. They've changed maybe they closed their office. Now they're working from home. But now they're interested in doing residential versus commercial. And so you can quickly shift gears by changing the script, as well as when you're done, this customer's in Texas. It says commercial Texas. The last thing I want to do is change the lead source and put that into residential Texas so that when I go back to it a little bit later, I'll know that all of my residential leads are in residential and my commercial is in commercial. So hopefully that makes sense. So if any of you have any questions, just go ahead and put it in the chat, and that will speed things along a little bit better. So once we're talking to the customer and we have used the utility audit script and we send the email to the customer, right? So we've sent the email to the customer. The customer responds with a copy of their utility bill. The first thing that we are going to want to do is, upon receipt of the utility bill, we want to submit it to the auditors and make sure to have the bill in a PDF format. So it's very simple. Come right up here, click on submit the utility audit. And so you're going to put your name and email and then the customer's information, their company information, and then any kind of important information that might pertain to the business that you think is relevant. And also it was an electric bill. And then how much is that company spending? $25,000 a month. And then attach a copy of the bill here and submit it. So that really doesn't take but a couple of minutes. Now, what's important is the moment that you upload that to the auditors, that's only one half. We then immediately want to enter that customer and electric bill information into the pricing platform to generate a proposal. And so what we are going to do is go up here, go up here and log into your back office right here, the commercial pricing portal, back of the platform. And so when you log in, this is what it's going to look like, unless you have a lot of deals down below. And so just real quick, if you have tasks or notifications, they'll come up here. But I do want to point on a couple of things. Up here at the top, when you click on the financial profile, that'll give you a high-level view of where you sit financially with all of your deals, along with adding a new customer. That's where we're going to add the new customer. We can do an instant quote. So we can add the customer information, then get a quote, or we can do a quote and then add the customer information. I prefer to add the customer information in first. It's just a lot cleaner. And so also over here on this menu where you got the little menu hamburger, if you click that, you'll get a drop down to where you can go to market overview and the market data analytics. Now, The market in the old days, you used to have to do everything manually. You still can go back and do the analytics manually if you want to look at something yourself. But we've upgraded the platform so that it does all of the analytics on all territories on a daily basis, and then creates a report on a daily basis in your back office automatically. So if you're looking for new leads or a new area, or you're wanting to check where should I be focusing, go right here to market update. So when you click on that, it's going to show you, this is yesterday's report. It doesn't do it on the weekends. So here was yesterday's report. So when you click on that, this is going to show you what happened yesterday, what was going on. So right at the top is commercial electric. So commercial electric, this is basically telling you what states you should be focusing on, where the market, where you're going to be able to have the best impact, where the rates are lower than the utility, and you're going to be able to provide the greatest amount of value. So that's where you want to focus. So if you are looking for additional leads to be added to your CRM and you were requesting that, I would look here first. That way you could say, okay, I don't want to be on the East Coast. I may want to move a little more west if that's available. But Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, New York, those are going to be your top hot markets for commercial electric. For commercial natural gas, you're going to have Illinois, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. So this is updated on a daily basis. And a lot of times you'll notice that some of those markets don't change a lot, and sometimes they can change radically. So you want to make sure that you're keeping track of all of that stuff. So the residential matrix, residential is a much smaller footprint. And the residential electric is Massachusetts, residential natural gas is Illinois. And then just so that you are aware of it, if you have some larger customers that have over 100,000 kWh and you want to use request for price or the reverse auction, these are going to be the results that we've seen yesterday for markets where customers received competitive bids. So in Connecticut, Eversource, the bid was 11.163. The best matrix price was 11.9. So that was a difference of 8.33 mils, which is not quite, a little more than 3/4 of a penny. That adds up. That's really good. And so you can see where some of the best results are coming from the auctions on electric as well as natural gas. And then, of course, market timing, where the market timing has executed potential rises in rates. So we are always keeping ahead both on natural gas and electricity. And then, of course, a graph just really to kind of give you an ongoing basis as to where the market's going. As I said earlier, a year ago, I was telling people that you need to start renewing your natural gas contracts, and they coincide with electric because, more than 50% of electric generation is fueled by natural gas. So it does have a trickle down effect, right? So if natural gas prices continue to climb, then so will, electric prices. So you can see that the rates have just skyrocketed. And, if you have ever looked at any kind of graphs and charts, you can see that this is really looks like this is going to maintain this level for quite some time. It could retract, but that's why we want to use layered services in that regard. So one Once you upload that to the auditors, they're going to let me know that you have uploaded a bill. I will get with you, or you can go over here and select on accounting and then just get some one-on-one time so that I can actually walk you through inputting that customer's information in there and showing you how to create a quote. Sometimes if somebody has a bill and it's on a Thursday or Friday and we're not pressed for time, then I will use that as an example in one of our Saturday trainings. But it's very simple. Adding that customer, you're going to put in the zip code of that customer. What is the effective date? We're going to leave that for now. And how much is their annual usage? So if they use 800,000 kWh, then we want to go ahead and put that in there. Hit continue. It's just going to say you've selected ComEd. That's the utility. The utility is the one that sends the electric down the wire, performs all the emergency services. That's not the name on the bill, always. So the supplier is the one that sets the rate for what they pay for that energy. So it could be a whole list of other names. So don't think, okay, well, I don't see the name over here on the bill because that's not the utility. That's the supplier that you're looking at. So is this a current customer? No, they're going to be a new customer, and you'll fill out all of the information along with their billing information so that we can put that customer into the platform. And once that's done, then you'll see that information lined up here. I will be more than happy to walk you through that. It's very simple. You can also see that being done in some of the past trainings. But once you've done that, then you'll be able to click on the contract number. This contract number is an internal contract number. It's not the contract for the customer with the supplier. That's just an internal number. And so once you have that up, then it's going to afford you the ability to look at all of the rates that are available so that you can see what is going to be best for the customer as well as for you. So a couple of other quick notes is when you are requesting leads. So right here, request customer leads for your CRM. You'll notice that it'll say check market updates, which is what we just did. And you might want to also take a look at the market overview. So the market overview is going to give you a visual of the US and where those markets are and what they include. So you'll notice you've got 3 tabs here. So the residential market is a much smaller footprint. Not all of the United States is deregulated at the residential level. So the light blue is electric, green is natural gas, the dark blue is electric and natural gas. So when you're selecting that over here, you can say, I want residential electric, residential natural gas, residential electric and natural gas. And those are already broken out. So if you select electric only, then you're going to see the states where you can do electric. If you're wanting only natural gas, then it's going to show you the states where you can do natural gas. If you want electric and natural gas, then it's going to show you those states. So, and to include the same thing for commercial, as well as, if you'll notice down here at the bottom, there is a place where it says commercial customer leads that are only for the utility audit. So you have a few states here that are only available for the utility audit, which means on the commercial side, these states in gray are not deregulated at any level. But you can do a utility audit in all 50 states, Canada, and Mexico. It does not matter whether it's regulated or deregulated. And so you can do the utility audit anywhere. Obviously, we like to focus on areas where we can go into phase two, which is what we're talking about, and being able to take and provide that customer additional savings. So I don't go into a lot of that with the customer because I don't know if I'm going to be able to provide value for that customer yet. So I want to keep that pitch and that thought process very singular on the utility audit. And so once I get a copy of the utility bill, upload it to the auditors, then I will get with you if you're new and walk you through the next phase and put that in there and then create a proposal that will show what additional savings we can provide that customer at the supplier level. So then we'll come back here, we'll select on the email, select the supplier savings proposal, and it says, don't forget to rename the attachments, which I'll show you, and attach a copy of the proposal. So we'll attach it and submit that to the customer. Then, just like it says over here, after renaming that and emailing it to the customer, then follow up with the customer and let them know that you received a copy of their utility bill safe and sound. So once I email that proposal, I'm going to call the customer back, say, hey, John, just want to let you know I received a copy of your utility bill safe and sound. In fact, the auditors are already underway. In fact, in the initial investigation, we also uncovered some additional savings in your electric account. I emailed you some information. When you have a chance, take a look at that. Give me a call. We'll go over the details. In that proposal, it's going to show savings on savings against other suppliers. It's going to show monthly, annual, contractual savings. It'll show a budget analysis where you can see how much they paid over the past 12 months, as well as moving forward. Don't want to get into all that details until the customer has that email open. So how do you know that the proposal is open? A pop-up will appear over here on the screen. So that's why we want to use this platform when we send that, rather than just using our typical email platform and sending it, because you won't get any kind of a notification. So this way, if you're using the CRM, it's going to keep track of everything that they do and keep you informed as to what they're doing. So even if you're not in the CRM, it will send you a message via email to let you know who opened it, who's looking at what, who's doing what, who's called you, who's not. And so you're always going to be kept abreast of what is going on. So that's instrumental in being able to follow up correctly. So I want to follow up with that customer, let them know that the auditors are already underway. During the initial investigation, some additional savings was discovered, that I emailed you some information. When you have a chance, take a look at that and give me a call. We'll go over the details. And so there is nothing on there that tells them how they're going to save it. So that's usually their responses. Well, this is great. I see I saved $152,000. What do I got to do to make that happen? That's fantastic. Well, my response is the how is not so important as much as when do you want that savings to start? Now, remind you that they may have an expiration down the road. That doesn't matter. I want to take care of an advantage of this today, right? And so if the customer says, well, I would like the savings to start now, great. So all I need to do, the customer's information is already in the system. So if I click this button that says sign up, it is going to automatically pull the contract for this supplier for this state and fill it out for me and send it to the customer in an electronic form, just like a DocuSign. All they got to do is open it, type in their name, hit enter. It will automatically come back and attach itself right back to the account that it came from. It will send you and the supplier a message letting you know that you now have signed contracts, right? So now you have some, what I call today money, while you're waiting for the audit to be completed. The audit does take some time. Some of them can take 30 to 120 days, just depending on the complexity and the size of that. But about 70% of those typically result in substantial refunds going back to the customer. So we want to be very proactive. Once the ink is dry on this deal and it's come back and signed off, then if we go back down here in the phases, after the contract is confirmed and everything is done, then we want to go over any additional services that are applicable to the customer. What does that mean? Well, we want to go back over here to the utility audit and follow back up with the customer and just let them know that, hey, look, was reviewing your account and I see that there are actually some additional cost centers that have the potential to increase the amount of your refund. We've already gotten the electric for the audit. We've already got a signed contract. So this customer is going to be very proactive in listening to you, because every time you talk to them is either making money or saving money. And so they're going to take what you have to say to heart. So what they're going to be a little inquisitive and say, hey, well, what do you mean by that? Well, as you know, we've got your electric account under audit. But in review, let me ask you, do you use natural gas? Sure. How about water and sewer, waste removal, telecom, wireless, shipping, freight, financing? Go right down the list. Any or all of these additional cost centers have the potential to increase the amount of the refund. So the same thing. Is that something accounting can get those bills over to me? That's going to be instrumental, right? So if natural gas happens to be in that mix, guess what? We do with natural gas, just like we did with the electric. So once we get that bill, we upload it to the auditors, and then we go and then load that back in to the platform to see what additional savings we can provide them at the supplier level for the natural gas. Once that ink is done, now we've gotten several deals under our belt. If they happen to be in one of those areas where we do have the free solar program available, which is New York, Maine, Massachusetts, Maryland, Minnesota, New Jersey, Oregon, Rhode Island, and most recently Illinois, then we want to talk to that customer about that. It doesn't require them, doesn't cost them a dime, no long-term contract. We don't have to install any solar panels, anything. So you can generate 1 to 7 different revenue streams from that same customer, to include talking to them about their resident electric and resident natural gas if they're in a deregulated area for residential. Hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to pause here for a moment and unmute everybody. And let's see here, and ask any questions that we might be able to have here. So I hope that you found value in today's training and information. If you did, please give us a like and a share, and go ahead and leave us a comment if you like. And until next time, have fun storming the castle. Bye now.